Hello, gentlemen of the USFL. This is the final week. The games this past week are done. We're going to spend most of our time on previews. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Looks like all of you will be back. A few of you are allowed to play in both leagues. A couple of you, and you must win after this year. I'm letting you stay in there, but after this year, you must at least win in the 20-team league if you're there to remain in both the 16 and 20. Some of you might be called up at some point in the future. Always be ready for that. May discuss at times with you your willingness to do so, but here we go. Memphis Showboats and the Oklahoma Outlaws this past week. Oklahoma's ridden with a lot of injuries. Memphis Showboats are just steaming on all cylinders, and Memphis Showboats win 34-22 over Kyle Smith's Showboats. William Brackeen is in the final championship game versus the Panthers, which Stars went into the Panther Stadium this past week. Michael Summers' team to put up a good fight. All of his receivers performed substandardly. Amari Cooper, Juju Schuster, and Cordero Patterson all together scored less than 5 points. That's going to be impossible to beat when the other side has three guys that score almost 5 points. So Michigan Panthers' Kenneth Beatty, congratulations, is in the championship game. Going on to the next game this past week, the Bulls and the Stallions. Michael Rodriguez came into the Stallions stadium. Very close game. Neither team performed very well. Pretty ugly performance out of all the players. Aaron Jones goes out and is out for the season for the Stallions. That really hurt the Stallions, but they were able to come out on top when Cam Newton on Monday Night Football just had a terrible night with 2.6 points. So with that, it looked like the Bulls were going to take it on Monday Night Football, but it didn't happen. Chris Flame prevails in that game. He'll be playing next week for a 5th and 6th spot. The Gamblers and Invaders, Oakland Invaders, Stephen Miller, Pacific Division winner, yes, only at 7 and 6. But looking over Stephen's team, gosh, there's no iron team. He's got a bunch of characters. You put Hopkins is definitely right at the top of the board. He's a keeper in every league, of course, as long as he stays healthy. And he's got Sean Watson behind him. He's a for sure keeper. But everyone else on the Oakland Invaders team is just a bunch of guys, deplorables, if you will. And they've all kind of put together a really good season. Oakland Invaders do win over the Houston Gamblers, who has had some disappointment out of Antonio Brown here toward the end of the season. Instead of prevailing for the Gamblers, Bill Kellick's team, Antonio Brown really let him down. Antonio Brown and Hopkins are two keepers in any league, any keeper league. But here, Hopkins performs with 8 points, Antonio Brown with 2.8 points. That's not the total difference in the game, as the game finished 27.3 to 16.8 in favor of the Oakland Invaders, who Oakland saves its season to stay on the top 8 board. With this win, Houston Gamblers are going to be fighting to defend their top 8 board spot. And finally, the Bandits and the Breakers. Bandits and Breakers. Breakers pull this game out in a close one over a feisty Brian Tracy Tampa Bay Bandits team, 26.4 to 25.3. Not much to say about that. Good performance on both sides. Tampa Bay has kind of had a comeback toward the end of the season, mainly because of Derrick Henry, who has performed very well for his team. Tom Brady seems to be slowing down. Christian McCaffrey, Boston Breakers, seems to be staying steady at 6 points every week. Lamar Miller did go down for the Breakers. That's going to hurt him this coming week. Joey Maynard's team going into their final game. He's going to try to make that top 8 board. In winning this game, that puts him to play in the top 8 board. So final game, Maulers and the Wranglers. Darren Spencer's team has just been a surprise here toward the end of the season. Takes down the Arizona Wranglers this week. Arizona did not perform very well Damon Williams has kind of been the surprise star on his team toward the end of the season, coming in and making up for Hunt, there at Kansas City. But Damon Williams was not enough as Pittsburgh Maulers put together a solid top to bottom, 5.7 points for Mixon, 5.7 points for Jeffrey. That right there almost beats the Arizona Wranglers this past week. Darren Spencer advances at a 3-10 record. I think he was ranked 14th or maybe 15th. He's a spoiler award guy, and here he is. He's going to play for the top 8 board, beauty of our league. Going forward into this next week, here we go. Memphis Showboats and the Panthers. This is going to be a great game. Both teams are 10-3. 25.1 to 27.3 is the difference in the scoring right now. Now that is with Memphis having their defense out and selecting what defense they're going to use. So, this game yesterday was 27.3 to 27.2. So guys, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Michigan Panthers is Showboats. Patrick Mahomes versus Ben Roethlisberger has to go to the Dome. Ezekiel Elliott and Gus Edwards. Todd Gurley hampered a little bit. We'll see. That's going to be a big difference maker for the Memphis Showboats as they try to win this title against the Kenneth Beatty's stubborn Michigan Panthers. Tyreek Hill on Monday night is going to make the difference, and I do believe the Panthers are going to pull this out with a big performance by Tyreek Hill on Monday Night Football. That's going to be something to watch. Next game on the slate, we are going for 3rd and 4th. How they got here, the Outlaws lost this past week in a bad game for them. Philadelphia Stars put up a good fight in theirs, but they did both lose, so they're playing for 3rd and 4th place. Oklahoma Outlaws, as I said before, Kyle Smith and Craig Christian are hampered with injuries, but they've got Lamar Jackson, who's a running quarterback, who still hasn't had a huge game, so you never know what's going to happen there. Of course, it's got Mark Ingram, who doesn't catch a lot of passes. That kind of hurts there, but that's what your running back slot's supposed to do. He's not necessarily supposed to be a pass catcher. He's supposed to be a dependable running back, and Mark Ingram has been for the Oklahoma Outlaws. Of course, you've got, on his injury list, you got Beckham, Keenan Allen, Spencer Ware, Randall Cobb, Jay Ajayi, Carson Wentz. I mean, the Outlaws are decimated. So Philadelphia Stars, I'm looking at them as a slight favorite. This game is 26.3, the Outlaws, 23.8, the Stars. But I think the Stars are going to make some adjustments. This game's going to be much closer. You call it. The line is 2 points in this game. That is for 3rd and 4th place. Stallions and Invaders. Chris Flame's going to try to save his season and secure a 5th place spot here against the Oakland Invaders. Oakland Invaders division winners out in the Pacific, Stephen Miller. He's going to try to finish where he started before the playoffs in somewhere in, at worst scenario, best scenario, 5th place. He finished 4th, but he can save his season and stay put where he started the playoffs with a win. If he loses this game, of course, he'll drop to 6th place. Chris Flame was flying high all season, had a shot to win the Southern Division in the regular season. This game is a 4-point game currently. Oakland Invaders over Birmingham Stallions in the predictions. 25.3 to 21.6. And the Maulers and the Bulls, this is one of our games where that bottom tier team has a shot against top tier team. Pittsburgh Maulers are going into the Bulls Stadium. Michael Rodriguez and new owner for next year, J.C. Conger, is sitting there silent until this game is over. And then J.C. Conger will take over. Michael Rodriguez moves to the Premier League. But Darren Spencer is favored in this game, 24.9 to 21.9. Kirk Cousins going to have to perform for Darren's Maulers. James White always seems to perform. Julio Jones is a star by all means. Alshon Jeffrey has to repeat like he did on Monday Night Football with Nick Foles behind the helm as quarterback there at Philadelphia. Jeffrey's come afire at the perfect time for the Pittsburgh Maulers. Jacksonville Bulls, on the other hand, they got Deion Lewis, who's being shadowed now by Derrick Henry's performance. They got Barkley, who's always a consistent former. Cam Newton, I don't know that he will play this week, as Jacksonville does have. He doesn't have a backup quarterback right now, but there's some in the pool for Michael to pick up. Some work to be done. Frank Gore's doubtful. The Bulls behind the 8 ball here, trying to defend their top 8 board spot, and Darren Spencer is trying to finish strong here at the end of the season. And then finally, the Gamblers and the Breakers. The Gamblers have suffered here toward the end of the season. They're 7-6 in the regular season. Boston Breakers 6-7 in the regular season. Joey Maynard and Bill Kellick are going to go at it. Right now, the Boston Breakers are favored, 24.6 to 21.4. Again, Boston Breakers have Tom Brady. They have Christian McCaffrey. Lamar Miller has been hurt and is expected to play this coming week. Not sure how dependable he is going to be for the Boston Breakers. Chris Godwin put up a goose egg last week, almost cost the Boston Breakers. We'll see if he can bounce back against the Houston Gamblers. Drew Brees, Jordan Howard, who I think is probably going to have a great postseason. And at the end of the season here, he's just a locomotive. Doesn't do an extraordinary amount, but he's a consistent running back. Julian Edelman, tough as nails. So the Gamblers, Antonio Brown has to come through for Houston this week. So Houston is going to defend its top 8 spot against the Boston Breakers, who want to finish in that top 8. And that is it, folks. Appreciate every one of you. Have a great week.